Welcome to Not But For Real, where besties who heal together keep it real together. I'm Ali, and this is my co-host Jay, and we are very excited to have you here with us for our second episode. And so make sure you follow us on all social media platforms at nbfpodcast, and we're gonna hop right into this with a warm-up. Warm things up a little bit. Okay, so Jay, if you had to pick a recipe that you had to cook for the rest of your life, and it's the only thing you can cook, and it's the only thing you can eat, what recipe would it be and why?
Easy. Tacos. Tacos all day. Let's start with the fact that tacos are my favorite food, period. And it's not just the fact that they're my favorite food, but like, it's just, you can't go wrong. Okay. Tacos can be eaten for breakfast. Obviously, lunch and dinner, everything can be, substituted for lunch and for dinner. Breakfast tacos, bomb. Everything tastes good in a tortilla. And then technically, you don't have to always use a tortilla for a taco. You can switch stuff out, use sweet potato tortilla or like other type of things. You can make it as basic as you want or as bougie as you want. You can stay traditional, cilantro and onion, or you can kick things up a notch and put some duck in that bitch and some crema and really, really get it popping. So I'm here for tacos every day. It can keep me interested. I won't get bored. I won't feel like I'm doing the same thing because you can mix it up. Yeah, tacos. Tacos.
Okay.
What about you?
Like 5 times.
Tacos are like tacos.
Six. Eight. Okay, so if I had to choose, see, I took this as I could never change the recipe. So I could never change it out and make it like a different taco shell or none of that. So I was like, if I had to choose one thing and it was the same recipe, the same ingredients,
Uh-huh.
a Buddha bowl.
A Buddha bowl.
A Buddha bowl. Because I feel like if I put a Buddha bowl, I can put all the nutrients in it, all the grains that I need. And then like I don't really get sick of like vegetables. So I feel like if I'm eating tacos for the rest of my life, but you say you'll change out the rest of the ingredients.
Yeah,
So
you can put whatever you want in it.
if I was eating tacos, I feel like I wouldn't get my nutrients.
You can put whatever you want in it.
Yeah.
It's a carb, it's a protein, a vegetable. That's everything. All your macros in one bite.
In one bite. Yeah.
In one bite.
I'm gonna go with the Buddha bowl.
But I feel like you can do that with any food though. You can get all of your nutrients in any food as long as you change the recipe to make sure that it has all of it.
But if you had to pick one recipe that you had to cook for the rest of your life, I don't think you could
tacos. It could be whatever. You can change the recipe.
Okay.
But tacos are still the same recipe, tortilla, meat, or protein, whatever type of protein, whatever type of topping. That's a taco. Because I know if I had to eat the same food, I'd rather die. Just saying. I eat that exact same food.
So you wouldn't be satisfied?
I would not be satisfied. If I had to eat the exact same thing every day for the rest of my natural born life, no. I wouldn't be living.
And then it just has me thinking, like, if you was eating the exact same thing, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, you probably wouldn't even make it to dinner.
Probably not, knowing myself, no.
The first day.
The very first day I'm out.
Now, you know what? Fuck it. Okay. Well, since we're talking about satisfaction in food and not being satisfied, defining it, how would you define satisfaction?
Personal definition of satisfaction. I feel like to be satisfied is to be content with where you are now, regardless of wanting more or wanting less. You are feeling balanced and tranquil with where you are now. Meaning that if something were to go wrong, you could pass away right now and just be like, everything in this moment is enough,
Mm-hmm. Okay. I like the word choices that you went with balance and stuff like that. I would say, like, very similar, just being content for myself, like, defining satisfaction, being content in where I'm at, no matter the circumstances. So similar to like what you were just saying. So yeah. Now, when I looked it up, they were saying that satisfaction being like fulfillment of needs, wants, desire, something like that. Needs,
Yeah.
pleasure, desire. So yeah, but okay. So
But I
being
feel like
that,
if you think about fulfillment though, like that might, I don't know, when you think about fulfillment versus like satisfaction, I feel like they are like, I don't want to say totally two different things, because I feel like you can be satisfied without being fulfilled, if that makes sense. Like, because I feel when I think of fulfillment, I mean, maybe I have the wrong definition of fulfillment. I think of like completely like fill, like the word fill, like filling this area up in order to move on to whatever.
Mhm.
Satisfied, I just feel like when I think fill or full, like fulfill, I'm thinking you're completely full. Satisfied, sometimes like you eat a snack and be like satisfied. I'm not so much full, but I'm cool. I'm chilling. I'm good.
Okay. Okay,
Right.
so feeling fulfilled, like I'm taking that definition because I can see how fulfillment and satisfaction are the same. Because
Mm-hmm.
like if you are, and it just has me thinking about kind of, I don't want to go too much ahead of myself, but well, no, I guess this would be a good way to transition into this. Like post graduation, like after graduating, I wasn't satisfied.
Mm-hmm.
Like during that time, I was like, I felt not fulfilled. Like I felt like
Right.
a part of me was empty, a part of me was gone because I all I had known for so long was school and
Mm-hmm.
going to school and taking tests and learning. And then I went from that, which was intense because I was in graduate school, to absolutely nothing, not even a job. And
Yeah.
so I went through a period where I felt like not good enough or depressed and down. And to me, that meant like I wasn't satisfied with my position in the world at that time, which also being I wasn't fulfilled with my own desire of learning and growing and evolving in my career. Also like that need. I have this need for learning. Like it's almost like how I feel like I need to learn because if I'm not, I feel stagnant.
Yeah.
So that period of time I would definitely say was a time where I was not satisfied, also being not fulfilled with where I was at.
Yeah. I can relate to the whole post graduation blues thing. Like, I don't know if any of our listeners, like, for those of you who have graduated college, and I don't know the difference of like post graduation school from, I mean, post graduation blues for high school, just because I went directly into college. But leave after college, it was like so what now? Like, especially because you're an adult, like, so it's kind of like people don't just hand it to you anymore, or they just feel like, okay, and especially in the Black community, our families don't have the same, graduation rates as we do now. So a lot of people who are older and stuff, they're just like, what are you upset about? It's like, you did this. This is, great. We don't have this. You get to see all these other things and do all these other things and have all these opportunities. So, perk up. So you can't really like express that to different, generations of our community.
Mhm.
Um, and it's something I feel like is not talked about enough. It's feeling like, oh my gosh, I'm here now and it is stagnant. But I will say that even in that moment for me, it was spaces in which I did not feel fulfilled in like the job force, and like you said, education. I was just kind of like, and knowing that I can teach myself. I don't know why we feel like after we leave college you can't learn anymore. I
Right.
don't know why I had that feeling like this is it. Like that's all I got. But you can learn more by yourself. But you're having that feeling that I couldn't learn anymore, or I was missing out in that's those compartments. But when I feel there was a time where it was like I don't feel fulfilled in those areas, those needs and like are not met. But I, as a person and where I'm standing, am satisfied with who I am, if that makes sense.
Mhm. Mhm.
So I had satisfaction within myself, but I didn't have fulfillment in different areas.
Mhm. And and as you were saying that like satisfaction in yourself, for me it was like almost the opposite because I did not have satisfaction in myself because for so long I had identified as a scholar. And so when
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't a scholar, I felt like I wasn't myself, which again
Mm,
didn't feel fulfilled.
yeah. Yeah. And that's why I said it took some time, because I can agree with that as well. Not so much as a scholar, but I identified with just, I mean, with the lifestyle of being a student in general. Um, And then when you don't have that or have that sense of direction anymore, like I said, it did for a long time. It was just empty. I don't even know. I don't want to say I wasn't satisfied. I don't know what it was. Like you said, just depressed and I don't know what's going on. I want to go home. This was not it. But
And
it
to
did
me,
take
home
some like
was
time for me.
my dorm room at the University of Memphis.
Where is my dorm? I'm lost. I'm lost here, y'all. Bills? Like, what is this? So it was some time where I didn't feel satisfied, like within myself. And that's where I feel like the differentiation comes from is with satisfaction. I feel like is a more internal thing, like within just you versus like fulfillment. My mind automatically goes to filling these areas that you identify with, yes, but it's like if they're not filled, if they're not completely like done, I'm okay, because there are parts of my life now that aren't quote unquote fulfilled. There are goals that aren't fulfilled for myself, but I still feel like as far as me, I'm at a place where I can, find that like we said, like the definition that we gave, like I can find that those little moments, I'm okay. And that's where I think with satisfaction. It's like when you get a grade, I don't know if you remember like pre-K or those, before we got real grades, to be like satisfactory, which was kind of like a C. I don't know why they do that, but it really, it just meant like you good. You're not failing. You're not exemplary. It's not outstanding, but it's like you good. Like you passing, and that's you satisfied.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So like how I was saying for myself, I was like depressed, I was down, negative on like who I was and like the possibilities or opportunities that may or may not be presented to me. For you, how would you say like you presented your like a time when you felt like not satisfied, and then what did that look like for you?
A time where I felt not satisfied. The most recent time, like I can say, is it was graduation. In terms of satisfaction, I wouldn't quite say like fulfilled, but in terms of like with myself, and I couldn't identify with myself. And it was consistent, because I'm not gonna lie, it still points now like where I don't feel satisfied, but it's not a consistent every day, like I wake up and I know I'm not gonna feel satisfied type of thing. But yeah, the only time I can really think where it was like a consistent, stagnant, I go to bed feeling this way, I wake up feeling this way until then I can get out of that funk, was after college. More specifically, right after college. It was right after college, like as soon as I got out, it was like, woo, I guess. And then it was just a lot of like, okay, confusion. And then it just kind of sunk into like, it's empty now. Like it's hella dry here. I don't know. I feel like I'm not making movements at all. And because of that, I did feel I felt stagnant. And I feel like that's the crazy part, because that's what satisfaction is, almost, or feeling satisfied. Like it's empty and it's silent right now. And I want something to be going on. And it's like, no, like you good. Like you're good.
It makes me wonder, are people afraid of, or do they try to avoid satisfaction?
I don't feel like we try to avoid satisfaction. I feel like a lot of people have a misunderstanding of what satisfaction is, which I still struggle with myself. Like, I feel like in order to be satisfied, and also I like relate satisfaction to happy. In order to be satisfied, I have to be, like I said, fulfilling all of these things within myself. Like I gotta be going to the gym. I gotta be doing. I gotta be on it at work every morning or every day, whatever the case may be. So when it comes to satisfaction, I don't feel like people are scared of satisfaction, but I do feel like people are afraid of silence. What's gonna happen when? And I think Ali and I had this conversation like after we moved, and we're both like by ourselves. I had moved before Ali by myself, and then Ali, your husband, moved, and then you were by yourself. And I had the conversation. I remember you saying like you did not want to be at home, because it's that feeling of like, when it's silent, then what? Like when it's empty, then what? I think you're not the only person. I was the same way. A lot of people are that way when it finally gets to the point where you're not. It's all this hustle and bustle is gone. Then like, what do we do now? And if I don't have a what do we do now, then who am I? Like you said, I can't identify with myself.
Right. And it has me like because I was thinking about this back when you were saying about, when you felt like after school and it was a time period, post graduation blues, how that felt for you. And the reason why it made me wonder if we're afraid of satisfaction, because a lot of times that's that time period where we're supposed to show like gratitude and we're supposed to take a breather and acknowledge what we just did and accept what we just did and say good job and then say what's next. But instead of that process, we go straight to what's next. So if we're going straight to what's next, then what is it about why we don't take a moment to feel that satisfaction or to embrace that satisfaction of what we just did? Like,
Yeah.
why do we skip that step? If it's
I don't
not
know for
fear.
everybody. I don't know for everybody. I know for me, because this is a huge part of my therapy process. Huge. Like, I know if my therapist ever listens to this, she's probably like, whoo, chat, like this is good 1/3 of what I've talked about in therapy over masses of time. Like, she's like, why? You don't have to be doing anything. Like, sit the hell down. It's okay. But yeah, it's so much for me, it's like comparisons. Like, and I'm not somebody who, I don't consider myself a jealous or envious person, but everywhere you look, if somebody is doing something that, especially that you like, or like that looks glamorous or looks like something that you identify with, and somewhere that you can see yourself, it's like, oh, I gotta put this work in because I wanna live like that. Not that I'm jealous. I'm like, I want to get there too. I want to be up there too. This is something that, not even realizing, like, girl, you have done so much. And even if you haven't, you're not supposed to do nothing but stay black and die on this earth. Like, it's okay. You don't have to be where they are. So that's for me in terms of like, I don't believe that in that period, I'm afraid of that period for me, because sometimes I have to physically go chase that period. For me,
Mhm.
I believe that I'm more so, I'm just so used to this like consumerism lifestyle. I'm used to this capitalist lifestyle that I have in America, where it's just like that's the norm.
Mhm.
Like, these periods of silence, that doesn't you don't make money in periods of silence. You don't
Mhm.
pay no bills in periods of silence. So if
Mhm.
I want these things fulfilled, you know,
So I can be satisfied.
right. So I can be quote unquote satisfied, then I gotta keep moving.
And that I think is actually probably the answer that a lot of people would sit with, because like when you bring in those layers of like capitalists and this go mentality, like here in America we have to keep going, because if you, like you said, if you stop, ain't no bills getting paid. And so that fear of and I think that's what the fear is, actually the fear of
Mm.
instability. My bills won't be paid. I need my bills to be paid, so I need to keep going.
But
Yeah.
I feel like it might just be a space individual to the person, where it's like, for me, instability is a fear of mine. So maybe that within that space, I fear that if I don't know what's going on, it's going to be unstable. But for some other people, it might be different fears that lie in those spaces based off of their traumas and based off of their past and what they've seen when people look stagnant in their eyes.
That has me, and it just went past really fast, but it has me wondering about like what others would say when it comes to, like you said, instability, being unstable is going to look different per person. So I
Mm-hmm.
wonder, and I'm gonna leave this here. Drop in the comments, like, what is it about instability that's like triggering you? Like, what
Mm-hmm.
is it that makes you think, oh, this happens, unstable? Because for you, like you said, that's what it's like for you. For me, it's probably literally if it's not organized.
Mm-hmm.
Organization. If things aren't organized, if things aren't like
Yep.
that, that's my anal side, then I feel unstable. So I guess it looks different per person. And it has me wonder,
Yeah.
others, what's triggering your instability?
For sure.
Hmm. So with that, when we have this time for us, like we were saying with the post graduation blues, how did you create that space for yourself to learn to appreciate those moments that is like, okay, let me sit back and appreciate where I'm at instead of go, go, go.
Yeah. For me, and I hate that this is my example, because this is like, I know it's not attainable for everybody, but this is, I'm not going to say that this is where I find it now, but these experiences showed me, they showed me how to identify this space and how to live within this space. So for me, it was travel for both experiences. And I always say, like, my friends always be joking with me because anytime I've only taken 2 like cross country abroad solo trips, but both times I've come back and everybody's like, you always come back with some epiphany shit. Like, you always come back talking about you leaving somebody, or like, I'm a new person, y'all. I'll come back a new bitch, okay? Y'all don't know what I see, period. So I went to Italy, first of all, in 2018. And I always say, like, as soon as I got back from Italy, like, left my man. I'm like, boss up. Okay, that's when I graduated.
Left your best friend.
Did I leave my best friend?
Yeah, you left me.
No, I'm talking about for real left. Like, I came back and left him. Like, we weren't together. I'm like, you're on. Okay. Anyway, but came back from Italy, like, left my man, left all this, the stuff that I was saying, like, I didn't want attachments to anymore. And I always say that Italy taught me that I can do it by myself. And then my most recent trip, I went to Guatemala for my 25th birthday. Completely different from Italy. I don't know who has gone. Completely different. Like, Italy is like buildings, flash, fashion. Oh, and I was like, yeah, I'm that girl. Okay, I was giving Beyonce that girl. Okay, but I went to Guatemala, and it was what you made it. Guatemala is exactly what you make it. You can go to some sides of Guatemala to have that. I chose not to, the glitz and that glam, or you can go find yourself, and that's what I chose to do. And I always say that Italy taught me that I can be by myself and be fine, and Guatemala taught me that I don't have to do everything by myself. I don't have to go and be the next billionaire. I don't have to be that girl at all times. Like, I could sit on this balcony and watch the birds chirp, and what's gonna happen? But the world gonna stop turning because Jae is not at home working? Like, you know what I'm saying? It finally taught me that all this shit at home is still going down. The wars are still going. People are still doing what they were gonna do before, and I'm cool. Like, and I didn't need Guatemala to show me that, but I was happy to have that opportunity to find that space for myself. I actually wrote, like, I want to talk about this because I wrote on my birthday, like, this big quote. And as I was, like, studying these notes or going over these notes, I went back and looked at it, and I just feel like it, like, encompasses, like, my version of what satisfaction is, or like my space for satisfaction. So I'm gonna read it. It's pretty short, y'all. So, like, stay with me. Okay, so I said, I dozed off last night under the stars, so close I felt like I could touch them. Woke up this morning to the sound of waves, cracks of branches, winds whispering through sabal leaves. I watched hummingbirds flit from purple flowers outside of my bathroom window as the sun rose over volcanoes. I stretched with the wind and spoke to the sky, and maybe for the first time, I felt like I was living for me. No flashy outfits, no camera setup, no rushing, no worries. I ate breakfast with the host of my villa. In the conversation, she asked me and another guest what was the agenda for today. Being the planner that I am, I instantly pulled out my phone to go through the elaborate plan I had for today, but my phone instantly died. And I scrambled, tried to remember my plans before she and her 90-pound dog looked me dead into my eyes and said 2 words. The words were just be. Unaware, I'm sure of my shortcomings, my struggle with my imposter syndrome, and my needs to be 3 steps ahead. Those 2 words changed my entire outlook of not only the trip, but my life. I've been waiting on my golden birthday since I was 7 years old, and I had a skating party. But my mommy told me what a golden birthday was. I've been prepping and planning to show my accomplishments and finally see what everyone else sees in me. I never thought that I would finally be able to see it when I put the planner down and started living for today. My therapist gave me this quote before I left. The curious paradox is that when I accept myself just as I am, then I can change. By Carl Rogers. So after 25 years of planning, I think it's about time to live for me as I am right now. So that was like empty, Jay. Like, I was just like, I'm sitting watching a volcano, just writing. And in those moments, especially with the quote, it's just like, you finally realize that I need this space in order to get to the next space of moving on. Like, you literally cannot go in this constant flow of moving because you'll have no sense of direction. You're chasing your own tail at that point. Mm-hmm. Not the tear. I'll get it, y'all.
It was such a beautiful writing. Like, that needs to be somebody pay my bitch. That's what I heard. I heard that I think that's supposed to be like in the beginning, the forward to your book.
Yeah. Period. Manifest it.
That's what that is. And I called it now. It's
Her.
2022. I called it. Watch.
Mm-hmm.
I would say, like, for myself, I've never gone on a solo trip, but like being able to take time to appreciate where I'm at is always seems to happen in nature.
Yeah.
And so, with it happening in nature, and that's what I started thinking about as you were like describing what you were seeing and what it felt like, what you heard. You went into your senses. And so, when I was thinking for myself, what can I do that's going to activate my senses, that's going to help me with just kind of sitting in the moment and get away from reality? Because that's what I that's just for me, creating that space is getting away from reality. Because our reality, yes, reality is a perception, but because we live in a capitalist world, our reality is go go go, because there are consequences when you don't keep going. And so being able to find space where I could do that, I'm actually super excited because by the time this drops, I
For
will be
sure.
getting, yeah, by the time this drops, I will be coming back. This is the second episode. So yeah, I will be back from my trip. So Alondra, how was your trip to Mexico?
Ask her. Hit her
Uh,
up.
how was your cruise? So I booked myself a cruise and for my husband and I, just to get away from reality, not have our phones, not be disconnected. That was the point. The point was disconnection. So I don't have my phone. I don't have internet. I can't have people calling me, telling me whatever they have going on. I simply just wanted it to be just shut off. And that's for my birthday. So yeah. Last episode we shouted my birthday out. This episode we're saying like, how was that cruise?
Yeah.
But yeah, so seeing that it can be easy to find satisfaction when life's going like great, right? Because we know when life's going great, we like, oh,
I can live like this forever.
like, bitch, I'm feeling myself. So it's easy to feel it then, but how can we find it when life isn't? So like during that post graduation blues.
Yeah. So it's a funny story, quick story. Recently I was with a friend, and I don't want to say that this is, I'm going to preface this by saying I don't want to say that this is the only time where you can find satisfaction, y'all, because I don't be ingesting drugs like that. Okay. But I was gone, y'all. Zooted. It's a spot in Chicago called Canna Cafe, right? First time having it. I'm sitting in the car with whoever I was with. We're drinking it. And we both have this moment where we're just sitting there and it's just dead silent. It's just dead silent, right? And we both at the same time like got up and we're like, do you hear that? And we could literally hear like crickets and birds making music like at the same time. Like it was not like one person said it. It was like we both got up, looked at each other like, am I tripping or is this a song right now? Like, should this be top 40? Like, I'm like, and it just made me think that it's just the silence. When you give yourself that silence, regardless of what's going on, and learn how to sit in it and really appreciate who you are in that moment, like without the degrees, without and I feel like that's what tears us up in our community, is that we associate satisfaction with accomplishments. And it's like, no, like when you came in this world, nobody said good job for squeezing your head through that cooch, like that's so you should be satisfied only because you squeezed your head through. No, I'm satisfied because I'm here, like I'm breathing. That's it. That's all I have to do. And just find those spaces to, for me it's journaling in those spaces, or maybe it's, I say meditating, but I feel like we need an entire episode just dedicated to that, because it's not always as simple as just closing your eyes like usa. But for me, journaling helped me to meditate because I can write down my surroundings. What is going on right now and why am I not satisfied with it? What's going on right now, and can I just sit with who I am? Who am I outside of my job? Who am I outside of my family? Who do I say that I am? Like, and am I okay with that? And why do I say that that's who I am? So just having those spaces in time where you're writing down, like maybe not for you writing down. Good one. I used to text myself in the morning and just have text conversations, just to like 2-3 word, text conversations with myself. Something like that, just to like remind yourself like who you are in this space, and it's okay to be in this space that's silent. It's necessary to be in this space that's silent.
Our apologies for that cutout, but we are back. So following through what we were just saying with finding how to find satisfaction even when life isn't going well, kind of like what you're going off of when you were saying, like being present, being there, being mindful. And for me, it's different than writing. I just kind of sit back and it's like I have a conversation with myself and take in, like you say, like those moments of what do I hear? What do I, well, I can't really see anything, but what do I visually see in my head? Or what do I smell? Or what do I feel around me? What am I touching? Is it cozy? How does the air feel? So being present in the world or life's present gifts, like what is around you right now and how is it impacting you, like right now, and just kind of sitting with it. So yeah, I would say it's very similar to yours. I don't write, which kind of makes sense because you're more of like the writer, like I said, that's your forward to your book. I'm more so of a talker. Like I just like to talk. So um sometimes I'll even record myself talking so I can listen to it.
That's a good one too. I do that as well. I do the recordings, and then I go back and I'm like, "Oh Lord, I sound crazy," but I do record myself a lot, and that actually does help a lot as well. I love the word mindfulness. Like we need a whole episode just on just being mindful, and it's gonna be super cozy, and we're gonna have our tea. It's gonna feel great, but in those moments, just like reminding yourself that like your presence is the gifts right now. Like just like the what's around you and surrounding you is providing this, gift to you, this symphony. Like you're a part of the orchestra. Like you are a part of this as well. Like you're providing your feedback to the environment that you're in. Like it really is making a difference, and seeing yourself as part of this orchestra. Like can't keep it moving without the drums and need your heartbeat for it to keep moving. So it
and
wouldn't
all
be
of that is
if you weren't there.
vibration.
Right.
Like all of it is everything. Like music has vibrations to it. That's why we can hear it. And so same thing, energy has vibrations to it. And so our energy plays a role into the like you said, the orchestra, the sound, the way, the movement of life. And that's why I believe it's just very important for when our energy is like down and we can feel it down to even take that moment in and seeing how that feels for us and why that feeling is coming in, and then telling ourselves, all right, like we gotta let it go, because the longer we hold it, like it's a vibration, it's energy that's like leaking into the earth, and then we do evil deeds when we feel like that. So now evil things is happening in the world once again. Vibration is connection, energy. So being able to just be present and taking in everything for what it is, and just being mindful.
I actually have a tip for people who are working class or either maybe work. Even if you work at home, this is a tip that came from my father, and he's in the mental health field. That has really helped. And I feel like without telling me that it was mindfulness, I now have grown to realize he was telling me to be mindful. So when I first started like working, like actually working, like not just sitting at my desk or, sitting at the office desk in college, like actually applying my skills toward a job. I would get very frustrated, and I'm sure anybody who knows like somebody either who's working in their field or just working and using their brain or using physical labor, like when you're working, that mindfulness goes out the window. Honestly, like let's be honest, we are working for somebody else, or even if you're working for yourself, you're catering to somebody else. So mindfulness, a lot of times, out of there. So when he was telling me, I would come home. And y'all just leave that shit on me. Just in my house, super drain, all that drained energy. Now it's on my bed. All my drained energy now it's on my soul. Like I'm just So a really good tip that he would tell me is when I leave work, before I leave the building, to go in the bathroom, to close my eyes and to wash my hands with warm water for 30 seconds. And in those 30 seconds, imagine yourself physically wiping off or washing off your day at work. Don't bring that day into your car. Don't bring that day into your house. Leave that shit wherever, if they building. Leave that there. Is that the energy that they create? Leave that there. And if you work at home, close your laptop, go to your bathroom, wash your hands, bring it back out. Do not let that energy resurface, because like you said, that's vibrations, and you don't want them vibrations in your house. You don't want them vibrations around you in general. If you want to leave it with them at their corporation, then by all means. Or if you want to leave it with your customers, by all means, but don't leave it with yourself. You got to go to sleep by yourself. So look, that's just a good tip that my dad gave me, and I still use it to this day. Like I'm not about to take this with me.
It's important, like, and that's again like that, like you said, like your dad told you to be mindful without telling you to be mindful. It stuck, and hopefully this sticks for others to see that wiping it off, it feels like kind of like, acknowledging it, but then at the same time saying, okay, I'm done, so that it's not dismissing it, because some people have that problem where they dismiss how they feel. We don't want to dismiss it, but we want to accept it, and then we also want to tell ourselves we can't stay with it. Yeah. And that's where like that washing away comes in.
Wash it off, leave it there. You can go visit it again tomorrow, but so it doesn't follow you. Yeah. Hopefully that works for y'all. Some of y'all try it. I know it seems like real mystical if you're not into, that realm, or a lot of people are like, girl, shut up. But just try it. Try it for a week and tell me if you feel any better.
And it doesn't hurt to try. And people who are like, oh girl, shut up, like that ain't gonna work. Like, how do you know it's not gonna work if you don't try it? And then if you tell yourself it's not gonna work, then it won't work.
Yeah.
Perception. So if you believe it's gonna work, it might work.
Also, I mean, if it don't work, at least your hands clean.
Right. Clean your hands.
COVID.
Shoot. Monkeypox. All right. But okay, so with that, concluding, we talked about a lot of different things. We talked about satisfaction, how we struggle with it, how to intentionally create space to cope with that, and then also being like mindful, like that mindfulness while we create that space. So with that, drop in the comments on what space do you create for yourself, for you to give yourself that mindfulness moment and saying, I'm satisfied with this exact space in this exact moment at this exact time. And go ahead, like, share, and make sure you are giving us follows and rates and reviews on all social media platforms and on all podcast streaming platforms. I got it. Period. Alrighty, y'all. So with that being said, we are not but for real. For besties who heal together, keep it real together. Period. See you next time.
Bye.